coming to the stage, we have Miss Sandra Guynes, like wine, Guynes, with Odell Guynes. Sandra Guynes is a photographer, artist, and holistic nurse and educator. She is the founder of Pearls for Creative Healing, an art program dedicated to helping survivors of domestic violence through the arts. After her own experience with abuse, she was inspired to create healing arts program that help women heal from their emotional scars. Odell Guynes is photographer and co-founder of Pearls in the Silence photography exhibit. His portfolio focuses on fashion, commercial, and event photography. So one more time, y'all give it up for Miss Sandra Guynes with Odell Guynes. Clap all the way to the stage. And y'all let the bar, y'all hold it down. Don't make me come over there.
All right, and actually Odell, he's sitting in the seat taking pictures, but 1 in 4 Charlotte women will be physically or sexually abused. That's 53,000 women right here in Charlotte. Tonight I want to take you on a little journey that started from my husband and I when we decided to take our photography business and use that as a catalyst for helping survivors of domestic violence. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I used art as a way to heal. I carried that emotional baggage with me for a very long time until I was able to tell my story. I didn't want to be a survivor. I didn't want to be a victim. I didn't want to be abused. It was through telling my story that I was able to heal. And I wanted to give that back to women in the community. Time passed. I healed. I remarried. In 2012, I asked my husband, would he join me on this journey of creating the End the Silence Project? The End the Silence Project was a way for women to get empowered and encouraged by sharing their stories of survival and bringing those stories to the community so that the community could understand what was happening for these women. What happened when we went out into the community was there were more stories than we could ever tell. And we gathered these women together. And when they were in that same circle, the energy in the room just became so palpable. They didn't know each other from anywhere, but these women, they shared that common thread. They had all been abused, and somehow being in this room, they connected and they laughed and they cried and they got ready to take these photographs, but they used each other's strength as a way to move forward. It was really hard to figure out how to photograph these women because one portrait cannot tell the complex stories of a survivor of domestic violence. You can't tell a whole story in one photo, but we tried our best. And we found little pieces of each story that we could take. This particular story was very difficult. This is Lashina. She's a survivor of domestic violence, and her child was murdered by the same abuser. Unfortunately, she never reported the abuse that occurred in her home to her or her child. So she ended up incarcerated for the crimes that she committed by not reporting what happened to her child. How do you tell this story in a portrait? There were so many stories, so many difficult stories to tell. But they were important because they opened doors and they created conversations. Conversations that everyone wants to have, but no one's willing to start. They inspired women because when they saw these portraits, it made them believe they could get to the other side of whatever situation they were in. This particular artist was strangled and left dead on her porch. When she returned from this incident from the hospital, 98 pieces of her portraits had been slashed by her abuser. He tried to silence not only her physical voice, but her artistic voice as well. I know that reaches home to a lot of you because you are an artist and you know how valuable your art is to you. And so we allowed people to come behind the scenes and to hear real stories and talk to the real women who were abused and ask the questions that they want to ask. So it's a no judgment zone. There's only 2 rules during the exhibit. I don't judge you and you don't judge me. You can ask anything you want. So they'll ask those questions. Why did you stay? How did you get out? This is Pamela. She was a child observer of domestic violence. Her story will never go unheard. A small child laying in the bed with her mother when her abuser came in and stabbed her mother 75 times. The blood splashing on her face. She tells the story now so that she can encourage women to get out of that situation before it's too late. And so she can be a voice for the children. And to encourage her daughters to never be in a relationship like that. The images are so powerful. It's immeasurable. We have people, women will stare at those portraits and they see themselves reflected in them. Some part of that story might open up a deep, dark secret they've been keeping for a long time. And they'll come around and say, I'm a survivor too. Men weeping, reading the stories because it could be their mother or their sister, or they may have seen this happen in their own homes. Since we started this project, we have now started our nonprofit. And we help survivors not only through the photography exhibit, but also through the arts. And art is so powerful. We heard it before. Art will help you deal with so many different things. We're going to the 3rd year of our exhibit, and we are so excited. We are so excited because we're bringing the community in now. This year we'll have 8 photographers who will be able to tell the stories of these women as well. They'll be sharing their stories, and they'll be sharing it through their lens, the way they see it. I hope tonight you've heard something that would inspire you, something that would take a little bit of the passion that you have in your heart for something, and that you would get off your ass and do something. I know it's hard sometimes because you think, what can I do? But one small thing can really make a big difference. And I'm so excited that I took that first step. And I thank my husband for joining me. Thank you.